In a quiet village surrounded by rolling green hills, there once lived an old painter named Oren. His small cottage sat on the edge of a river, where the sound of flowing water and the scent of wild jasmine filled the air. Oren was known far and wide for creating the most breathtaking paintings. People said his art could capture not just the beauty of a landscape, but the soul of it, the warmth of sunlight, the quiet sadness of dusk, and the hope that lingered in every morning. But as the years passed, Oren's eyesight began to fade, and his hands started to tremble. The villagers noticed he no longer displayed his paintings outside his cottage. Many assumed he had lost his gift. One day, the king of the land sent a messenger to Oren's home with a request. "The king wishes you to create one final masterpiece, a painting that will live forever in the great hall." The old painter hesitated. His hand shook as he held the brush, and his eyes blurred before the blank white canvas. Still, he whispered, "I will try." Days turned into weeks. Oren sat in front of the white canvas, but no colors touched it. Each morning the villagers passed by and whispered among themselves, "Maybe he has forgotten how to paint. Perhaps his talent is gone." Inside, Oren heard every word. Doubt began to settle in his heart. He stared at the blank canvas, and all he could see was failure, one black dot of darkness in the bright space of his life's work. Then, one afternoon, as the golden light filtered through his window, a soft knock came at the door. It was Lena, a little girl who often brought him flowers from the meadows. "Master Oren," she said, "why haven't you painted anything?" He sighed. "Because my eyes only see flaws now, child. My hand shakes and my heart is no longer steady. I fear that any mark I make will only ruin the white beauty of this canvas." The girl tilted her head, then gently walked over to the painting stand. She dipped a brush in gold and drew a small curve, imperfect, uneven, but shining brightly in the light. "See?" she smiled. "It's not ruined, master. The white canvas is still there. It just has something special now." Her words struck his heart like a bell in the quiet morning. He looked again at the canvas, not as something perfect, but as something waiting to be lived upon. The next day, Oren picked up his brush again. His strokes were slow, his lines imperfect, but every mark carried warmth, purpose, and truth. He painted from memory. The first sunrise he ever saw with his mother, the laughter of his friends by the river, the face of his late wife smiling at him from across the years. When the painting was finally complete, the entire village gathered in awe. It wasn't flawless. The lines wavered, the shades mixed. But somehow, the picture felt alive. It told a story of a man who had lived, loved, and learned to see beauty even through imperfection. When the king arrived to see it, he stood silently for a long time. Then he said, "This is not just art. This is life itself." The king turned to Oren and asked, "What inspired you to create something so full of soul?" The old painter smiled softly and said, "Your Majesty, for a long time, I could only see the black spots, the shaking of my hands, the fading of my sight, the loss of youth. I thought my life was over. But then a little girl reminded me that a small flaw does not ruin the white canvas. It gives it meaning." He looked around at the crowd and continued, "Our lives are like this canvas, vast, bright, and filled with beauty. But we choose to stare at the stains. We worry about our failures, our losses, our pain, and forget the hundreds of blessings that surround us every day. We forget the laughter, the kindness, the love that still remains." The villagers bowed their heads in silence. The painter's words echoed through the hall like a prayer. "Perfection," Oren said, "is not in avoiding the dark spots. It is in learning to see the white space beyond them. The more we focus on the good, the larger it grows, until the darkness no longer scares us." From that day on, the painting hung in the king's great hall. It was called the Canvas of Life, and below it, carved in gold, were Oren's final words. "The white space is your joy, your love, your gratitude. The dark spots are only reminders that you are human. Do not live your life staring at the stains. Look at the light that holds them.